What a bullet! Scott Arfield! He's been threatening that recently, and all the Burnley players run to the Darwin end.
Burnley win the next ball. Here's Sir Rory now. On the outside, decent.
He got it! Ashley Barnes with it! What a cross from Sir Rory! And there was Ashley Barnes, and Burnley leading the derby.
Knocks it quickly, finds Benson in space at the byline. Can Burnley get a goal here? Back for Brownell, saved by the keeper.
Burnley won it to the end. That is magnificent. They deserve that.
On it by Paul Patella, off for a hat-trick.
He's got it. Hat-trick for Nathan Teller. Oh, he's on fire at the minute. 3-0 Burnley. It's Nathan Teller's day. And Burnley are 3 up here. Fantastic derby.
Here's Benson, can he go on the outside? Comes inside, top shot.
Oh, what a goal. Manuel Benson once more. That is top class. Burnley have done it. Fantastic. Clarets deserve the championship title. They've been the best side throughout the campaign. Burnley have won the second tier. What a fantastic achievement. The players have been magnificent.
Yes, hello everyone, and welcome along to the latest instalment of the Turfcast podcast pre-game show with me, Joe Redmond, ahead of this weekend's game against Bristol City at Turf Moor. We are back. Regular programming is back on the channel, is what I'm trying to say. But I have enjoyed doing the recent stuff with Connor and Jimmy, to be fair, and watch out, we will be doing more of that. But it's good to finally talk about an actual football match again. But a big 8 games coming up for Burnley, as it is for Bristol City, of course. They're on the fringes of the playoffs, and they'll be hoping to cause a shock at Turf Moor and creep into that top 6. But as always, on the channel, I'm joined by a fan of the opposition, and I'm pleased to introduce Ben from the YouTube channel Robins on Tour. How you doing, mate?
I'm not doing too bad. Looking forward to returning to club football after the international break. Like you said, 8 games to go. We finally got something to play for in this final end of the season, and can't wait. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it must be a bit alien to you, this. And I don't at any point mean to sound sort of like patronising and stuff, but it seems like at this stage of the season, Bristol City, for me, they're always battling with Preston for 12th. Like, that is the meme, isn't it? That is the joke. You're always mid-table. Yeah. But something just seems to have clicked this year. And like I said, you're in 7th at the minute. I actually thought you were a little higher than that, to be honest with you, when I was doing a preview early today for something else. I think I said you just broke into 6th, but still 7th nonetheless. That's fantastic. And obviously you'll be hoping that you can be in the playoffs come the end of the season. So talk about your season so far. What's different this year to the other seasons? Why are you now knocking on that door of the playoffs rather than just already fading into sort of like mid-table obscurity and being on the beach already?
Generally, I've got no idea. Obviously, you got to give put your hands up to Liam Manning. He's obviously done an incredible job this season. We brought in quite a few players in the summer and then didn't bring anyone in January. So to go into the international break 7 unbeaten with only 1 loss in our last, I think it was 11, is just unreal. So I don't really know what to put a finger on it, because we've dropped so many points. Stupid points that, if we got them, we could easily be certified in the playoffs. Like QPR at home, we dropped a point because Max O'Leary decided to come clear a ball from the halfway line. Away games, Sunderland lost 2 points in the last minute. Countless. There's got to be a good 6 or 7 this season. And it's just crazy how we're still 2 points off 5th with 8 games to go.
Yeah,
I don't want to say the Championship's been poor this season, but I think anyone could be anyone on their day, and I think that's had a big part to play as well.
To be fair, mate, you beat me to the punch there. I was going to say that. Other than the top 4, I think that the middling Championship teams that have been pretty poor, like we've lost twice all season, and it's a testament to how difficult we are to beat. Don't get me wrong, and how good we are defensively. But, we should be, I think the year we won the league at a canter under Vincent Kompany, we lost 3 times. All right, there's still time for us to lose a couple more. I get that. But the times we won it under Dyche and finished second under Dyche, we lost 5 times. And we're not top. we're third. So other than the top four, I do feel like everyone else is a little bit poor, if I'm being honest with you. But you mentioned Liam Manning there. I do want to talk about him because obviously came to you guys from Oxford, I think it was, around late 2023. Yeah. So he's probably been there around 18 months now. How's he get? Well, he's doing a very good job, obviously, but tell me your feelings on Manning. I presume it's positive throughout the fan base for Liam Manning at Bristol City.
Yeah. He's had a few blips where the fan base has sort of turned against him, but then I think that's just sort of the Bristol City fan base, really. We turn after any sort of a loss. So, but yeah, overall, there's been no issues whatsoever. Obviously, he's lost his son at the start of this season, which obviously brought everyone so much closer together, and that's probably also had a part to play as well. The squad. Yeah. I was in the post-match press conference from the last game against Norwich, and someone asked Max O'Leary a question about it, and he just said, "Yeah, it's brought everyone together so much, and it's such like a most sort of a squad feel in a long time." That's definitely had something to play. You see, even late on in games like away to Sheffield United, we go 1-0 down, easily heads drop. We could go and lose that 2-3-0, but we've gone and got a last-minute equaliser and come away with a point, which could be absolutely massive in sort of 8 games' time. So yeah, I'm a big fan of what he's doing. If we don't do it this season, I think he's definitely, the right man to take us into next season as well. And with the teams that are going to go up, teams that are going to come down, we're going to have a right good go at it next season if we're unlucky this season.
Yeah, next season in the Championship worries me, to be fair, if Burnley don't go up. When you look at the teams that are coming down, obviously Southampton and Leicester, big clubs. Ipswich, I thought, did decent business. Probably not a good Premier League business, but, a business that should be able to do well in the Championship again. However, we thought that going into the summer last year, and the majority and some of them went to Ipswich. So, we'll see what happens with them. But I just want to talk about your form as well, because you touched on it there briefly. Unbeaten in 7. The last time you lost was quite a bit of a local rivalry, actually, like at home to Swansea. So I'm sure that was disappointing, and I do find them actually quite poor side, really. So that is, I presume, disappointing. But since then, you've really kicked on. Obviously, beating Bristol City. You are Bristol City. Beating Stoke 2-0. Then, drawing with Cardiff, not a bad result to say. But again, I do think they're quite poor. But then beating Middlesbrough, that is a good result. Beating Millwall. I see what you mean now about these drop points. You've got a draw here to Hull, who were down to 10 men at the time. Thank you for that point, Bramall Lane as well, by the way. Yeah,
that was awful.
And then beating Norwich City last time out. So what's it feels like something's clicked with Bristol at the minute, then, doesn't it? Looking at that run of form.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't realise how good it actually was until I was looking at it earlier. And yeah, one loss, that Swansea game in our last 11-12, I think it is. And that was an awful game. Like, we really should not have lost that. So it should be unbeaten in 12, 13 games. Obviously it's not. And yeah, the draws, it's been our away form this season. I think we only won 2 or 3 away until that Millwall game. And most of them were back in November, before November. So up until that Millwall game, our away form, was really, really costing us. And then we've managed to go and get 4 points from Millwall and Sheffield United, which is, not easy to do at any club in this league. Yeah, it's just those drop points. At home, we're pretty solid, but then again, like you say, not being able to beat Hull, and that game generally, I think we had about 75% possession. I don't think Hull were in our box after they scored in the sort of 13th, 14th minute, I think. And how we didn't go on to win that is beyond me. But then we bounced back with a draw at Sheffield United and a win at home to Norwich. So you can't really complain. But 8 games left, 4 at home, 4 away. We've got to play West Brom at home. We've got to play Sunderland at home. We've got to play Watford at home, and we've got to play
some tough games,
Leeds, and then QPR and Luton away. So it's not going to be easy. But then again, those are the teams you've got to beat if you want to be getting up there. So I think it's all going to come down to that West Brom game, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, interesting. It's interesting to hear you talk about the fixtures, because that's obviously a lot of the stuff that we're doing at the minute. We've got the harder running if you look at it on paper compared to Sheffield United and Leeds, I think. But ultimately, everybody's got to play everybody. So it doesn't matter when you play them. If you get there, you deserve to be there at the end of the day. What's changed then with your away form? Because I was looking at that earlier in the season and thinking, we should be able to turn Bristol City over when they come to the turf. But like I said, it's got a little bit better recently. So what's changed? Have you started going for teams a little bit more, being more defensive, or is it just being sort of like a personnel change?
Well, that first half at Sheffield United generally is probably the best football I've seen us play in so long. We hardly let them touch the ball. As soon as they got the ball back, we'd go and win it back straight away. And I don't obviously from the away end, from all you, I'm sure you've been to a couple. They're not. Some of them aren't the greatest views. So you can't see all the tactical side of all of it. But I'm sure we must have changed
Bramall Lane's
something.
not a great view, is it? Especially if you're at the back of the lower tier, you can't see.
Yeah, it's awful. Millwall isn't too bad though. But yeah, I don't really know what it is. We've been having a lot of the ball, and it's just being able to do stuff with the ball. And that's someone else we've lacked, is just that final little bit in the final third to get a shot off or get a cross in the box.
Yeah.
So I expect it'll probably be similar on Saturday. We'll try and have a lot of the ball. We'll try and create stuff. But obviously, we know Scott Parker's a very good defensive side, so it's going to be very hard to break down. So I won't be expecting many goals, which I guess won't be a shock really.
Won't be many goals in either net, I think, mate. But I'm glad you've gone into sort of like tactical side of it as well. Then how do you expect? Because I'm looking at these last 8 games of the season, right? And Burnley's shortcomings earlier in the season, I'm sure the majority of Burnley fans watching this will agree with me, but when teams came to the turf and just defended, just said, right, break us down, and we couldn't break these teams down. Derby did it, Preston did it, QPR did it. There's so many more examples. We just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. But then recently, teams have started opening up a little bit more, and this is why we got the win at Ellen Road. This is why we got the win at Bramall Lane, because obviously they attack you. And we can pick teams off then, and we press teams quite well as well. If you want a lot of the ball and mess around with it at the back, we can press you quite well. So if you're going to come to the turf and just stick 4 banks of 4, we might struggle. But I don't feel like Bristol City are one of them sides, are they? Like, how do you think we're going to approach this?
We definitely won't do that. We definitely won't do that.
Ears, mate.
Yeah, because we'll play. Manning will play how he wants to play. And the only criticism I've got of Manning from recently is he doesn't really have a plan B. He sort of he chucks sort of his magic out in the starting 11, and then if it needs it in the 60th, 70th minute, he'll change a striker for a striker, midfielder for a midfielder, something like that. He'll very rarely completely change it. He might sort of set them out with 2 or 3 things to change between in a game, but he won't like bring at halftime, this ain't working, let's completely change it. He won't do that. So yeah, I expect if I had to put money on it, I'd say we'd go to turf more to try and get the ball, keep the ball, and basically make you guys frustrated that we've got so much of the ball, and then we try and nick something in the second half. That's what I'd expect to see. But then again, you could win it back. Dickey, Viner, they've all got a mistake in them somewhere. One wrong pass, 1-0 in the first 10 minutes, and then we're panic stations really. Well, it would have been for the last couple of years, but we'll have to see in this final 8 games how we've sort of matured.
It's interesting that I do feel like if you are one of them teams that it depends. What are you like in midfield as well? I do feel like that sometimes when we have been outplayed this season is when we come up against a team with a very, very good midfield. Sunderland, for example. What are you guys like in midfield?
Very good. It's probably where we.
Our
team's built around our midfield. I think without our midfield, we wouldn't be able to play how we play. We wouldn't have won the games we play. We just wouldn't play how we've played under Manning. Obviously, Jason Knight, Ireland international, Max Bird, came from Derby. I think it was this summer, and then Joe Williams, who obviously I'm sure you'll know from countless years in the Championship. And yeah, the last couple of games, Joe Williams, especially for me, is just been unreal. But yeah, Jason Knight and Max Bird on their day, our midfield is generally very, very hard to break down and very, very hard to get the ball off. But it's one of those things. If those 3 are going to be on their game, you then need, your Scott Twines or your Naki Wells or your Armstrongs to be on it as well, to be able to get on the end of the balls or make the runs and stuff like that. And sometimes this season we've just sort of had that. The midfield's there, the attack's not there, or the attack's there, the midfield's not there. We just need it to click in this final 8 games if we really want to push. And I think at home, you've obviously got the support backing it. Away, it's obviously tougher. Some of the away games we've got to go to as well. QPR's not an easy place to go. Luton's not an easy place to go. Turf Moor and Ellen Road aren't easy places to go either. So it's going to be tough, but we've showed character enough this season, and we've just got to hope we can do it 8 more times.
Yeah, Me and you both, mate. I think that's how we're both feeling at the minute. I'm glad you've mentioned some of the ex-Clarets there. Scott Twine,
Yeah.
Naki Wells, and of course McNally as well. How are they getting on then? I know Naki Wells has been there for a few years now, and obviously he's a lot more Bristol City than he ever was Burnley.
Yeah.
But obviously Scott Twine, he was on loan there last season, and obviously made the move permanent in the summer. And McNally as well, obviously a defender that was criticised in sort of like in a weird report thing at Burnley. Never really got a chance. Probably not as good as Esteve and the likes of Bayer and CJ Egan Ryder, though, so you can understand why the club wanted to move him on. But Scott Twine was a different one with Burnley. A lot of Burnley fans wanted to keep him. A lot of Burnley fans don't think he really got a run in, but at the same time, I think a few Burnley fans thought he was a little bit too lightweight, especially for the Premier League, not strong enough on the ball, but obviously very, very good with his set pieces. How are them three getting on at Bristol City this season?
Well, I mean, when McNally came, I was speaking to a couple of Burnley fans anyway. They were saying he's sort of like 6th, 7th choice centre back at the time. I think that was when you had like 50 odd players. But and I was surprised because he's been nothing but unreal really for City, and he's injured at the moment, so you won't see him on Saturday. But yeah, when he's sort of whenever he's played, he's been unreal. He's probably for the majority of the time since he started, getting a run of games, he'd probably be one of the first names on the team sheet, especially in the defence. So, I mean, yeah, McNally's been unreal. Naki Wells has just come back from an injury. He started on the last game against Norwich, scored. Should have scored a second, but I don't know how the keeper saved pretty much an open net. But yeah, he scored. I don't know if he went on international duty. I don't think he did. So obviously he'll have fresh legs, which would be good. And then Scott Twine. Scott Twine's a weird one because obviously I'm sure he's got a free kick in him.
Yeah.
A very good free kick in him. And when he pulls one of them out of the bag, he's probably a fan favourite for everyone. However, he just needs to do a little bit more when it's not a dead ball, if that sort of makes sense. Just needs to sometimes, like you say, a little bit lightweight, a little bit not with it. A little bit just needs to get in the game a bit more. But I'm hoping that'll sort of come with time.
Yeah, how long do you give him though? I feel like he's getting to that age now where he should be doing it. The Burnley fans were having the exact same conversations 2 years ago. I like Scott Twine, and I was sad to see him go. But you're saying the exact same things I said 2 years ago, mate. So he does have a set piece in him. He can take a corner. We have properly missed that. Scored 2 direct free kicks for Burnley. I think it was one against West Brom, and one against Cardiff, if I remember rightly. But yeah, it's how long do you give him? I feel like I felt you know more than me. I felt like he'd done quite well at Bristol City, but obviously, like you said, you've still got some doubts over him.
He hasn't done badly at all, but it's sort of when you're competing against the like of Mehmeti, who's looking for the same position as being our top goal scorer. The only thing with Twine as well, we've probably tried him out in 2 or 3 different positions as well, which I don't know. That could either be a good or a bad thing. But, I mean, we've changed formation a bit over the last, obviously, under Manning this season. So maybe now the formation doesn't suit him as much as it did in the summer when Manning wanted him to bring him in. But, on his day, he's one of the best players on the pitch. But it's how often he has those days that is probably the issue at the moment.
Yeah. I like Twine, but it does feel like he's not moved on, to be honest with you. We will move on, though. Injury issues. I know you mentioned McNally a minute ago. Have you got any other big players missing that are going to be unavailable for this game, or is it pretty much a clean bill of health?
Pretty much. We've got a couple of youngsters out. McNally's obviously the main one. Ross McCrory gone back into training. I'm not sure if that's back in training for Saturday or if that's just recovery on the grass. But yeah, apart from that, we've had no new ones over the international break, which is very good because obviously we had Jason Knight and Mark Sykes, who have obviously been quite pivotal in our midfield the last couple of games. They both went on international duty. Sinclair Armstrong went to the 21s with Ireland as well, and they all seem to have come back perfectly fine. Mehmeti luckily didn't get picked for Albania. So as much as it would have been nice to see him at Wembley, hopefully we'll see him there in May instead. But yeah, apart from that, I think we're doing okay. Touch wood.
Yeah, touch wood. I'll also touch wood, but we're pretty much exactly the same. I think we had about 10 or so players on international duty, obviously including the likes of James Trafford and CJ Egan-Riley, and a few other lads as well. Everybody's come back fine, thankfully. Everybody's come back fine, so fingers crossed. You mentioned earlier Joe Williams, Jason Knight. You thought that they're two very good players. What sort of players should the Burnley fans be looking out for? Who can you hurt us with on Saturday?
Like I said earlier, it'll sort of be whoever's on it, really. Obviously, Mehmet's our top goal scorer. He's got a goal in him. Sykes, he scored an unreal finish against Norwich. He's looked dangerous last couple of weeks. Obviously, actually scored at Sheffield United as well. He scored that one, so he's got 2 and 2. And then whoever plays up front, Naki Wells, Sinclair Armstrong, they're two completely different players. Obviously, I'm sure you'll remember somewhat of Naki Wells, sort of more of a poacher, sort of sits off. No, sorry, wrong way round. He's the presser, so he'll try and press your back line, but then Sinclair Armstrong's the complete opposite. He'll sit you off and let you run with the ball and pretty much run past him without sticking a foot out. But then if the ball goes over the top, I don't think I've ever seen a player faster. There was a game at home, I can't remember which one it was, a month or two ago. Ball got played over. We thought, no way he's got this, and he's got it. Took it around the keeper and won a penalty. It might have been that whole game you're on about, actually. So yeah, he might be able to hurt you. And then it'll be the midfield, really. So Knight, Bird, Williams, if they can control it, if they can get on the ball and looking for the passes out wide, that's probably where we'll be able to hurt you.
Yeah, fair enough. It's going to be an interesting battle, especially in our defence and your forward line. Is there any Burnley players that you're worried about going into the weekend?
To be honest, this season, I don't know if it sounds bad. I've sort of just seen Burnley as sort of a defensive unit. I haven't really seen individual players. I just keep seeing sort of clean sheet, and then you conceded a couple. I think like Cardiff and Preston in the cup, and then it's gone back to clean sheet. So not particularly, really. I just know that if you guys turn up, you could easily smash 5 past us. But it could also be a 0-0. So I don't know what to expect, which is probably similar from what you can expect from us. I've got no idea which city's going to turn up.
Yeah, to be fair, it's one of them wheels. I think at the minute it's the usual suspects. Your Brownhills. He's our leading goal scorer this season
as well.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Which says a lot about. which says a lot about our strike force, to be fair. But he loves, I don't know if he were doing that for you guys, but he loves arriving late, opening his body up, slotting it in the back of the net. Gets a lot of stick from Burnley fans, but delivering again this season. Then you've got Marcus Edwards as well, who's obviously just come in January, and I think he's the reason now why we have started to turn draws into wins. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting, this battle. It really is. I do feel like Burnley have enough, though. We'll get into predictions in a second in terms of the match, but I want to get on to some other predictions. Obviously, it's towards the end of the season now. You're just outside the playoffs at the minute, just below, I think it's Coventry and West Brom. I'll just quickly double check that so I don't look stupid. But I think the last time I did a preview, I said Coventry, West Brom, and then but you're on the same points as West Brom, just 2 points behind Coventry, and Coventry are flying. To be fair, that shows how well you're doing. My question is, do you think you get into playoffs at the end of the season, or do you think you're going to just miss out?
It really comes down to if we beat West Brom, because as much as it's bad to say, I think Saturday's really a free hit. Again, touch wood. Coventry have got Sheffield United away. That's really tough. And West Brom, I got Norwich. So, I mean, if we go and drop points, I don't think we'd be the only team. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me. But yeah, it's going to come down to the other games. West Brom got quite a nice run in. Coventry don't have that bad of a run in. We've got tough fixtures. I think 70 points have done it. I'm pretty sure 7 or 8 times out of the last 10 seasons. So that's 13 points from a possible 24. So it's tough to say. I think it's going to come down to that West Brom game. If we beat West Brom and pick up, I think we have to go and beat it at home. And I think we have to pick up at least 4 points from possibly Luton and QPR, and then obviously anything from Burnley and Leeds away is just a bonus. We've already got a point from Sheffield United, so anything from you guys or Leeds is a bonus.
Yeah,
I'm going to say no just for now because I don't want to jinx anything, but ask me again after the West Brom game.
Yeah, I feel like you're in a similar position to us. I'm looking at some of Coventry's fixtures. Man, Coventry has still got to play Sheffield United and us, but I'm looking at your fixtures and I'm thinking, yeah, they have. I'm looking at your fixtures and I'm thinking it's a pretty tough run, that, to be fair. But I feel like you're focusing all on that West Brom game. There's a lot of Burnley fans focusing all on the Sheffield United game. Obviously, similar position, just playing the team a little bit above us. And if we can win that and get above them, then it's a different thing. But that brings me on nicely to your predictions for the top two, mate. And feel free to say you don't think it's going to be Burnley if you don't think it's going to be Burnley, because I think when neutrals look at the fixture, Leeds have got the best running and they're top.
I think Leeds
go on to win the league. Yeah, I think they go on to win it.
Well, I did think after they lost to who did they lose to recently? Because they started to slip, and I was like, oh, that was it. Is it gonna happen again? But I just think they've got such a strong squad. And they're such a good side, really. I mean, even like the Sheffield United away game, you see, you're just going to flick like that and score 2 in what even was it, less than 60 seconds. So I'd be very surprised if they don't finish top 2 or win the league. And then it comes down to second. It's pretty much like the playoffs, isn't it? Top half's completely done, and then it's just the battle for the second half, and it really is a tough one because obviously I've seen Sheffield United more recently. And they didn't impress me at all. If I'm being
they never do. But this is what I'm saying. Like they never play well, but they always just grind it out. And I know that's rich coming from a Burnley fan after the season that we've had. But I think at least we have a good defence. I look at them and I just think, what are they? What are they doing? But yet they win every week. It has to be intentional. And at the same time, while it's not impressive, and I'm looking at them thinking they're poor. At the same time, it's also very impressive that they haven't really played well once this season, and they've won pretty much every week.
And they had the points deduction, so really they would be 4 points clear. So yeah, it's at Sheffield United, isn't it? The game against you guys, or is it at Turf Moor?
No, it's at the Turf. It's at the Turf.
Oh,
we beat them at Bramall Lane. I'll just try and swear you. Yeah. We did beat them at Bramall Lane.
It's going to come down to that one, isn't it?
It is
pretty much.
And just to give you full transparency, they play Blackburn Rovers on the final day of the season at Bramall Lane. The Blackburn Rovers that are already out of the playoff picture, they'll have nothing to play for. The Blackburn Rovers fans will be wearing Sheffield United shirts in the ground, mate. They've got that game won. We need to be above them before the final day of the season, mate.
Yeah. Oh, it's so tough to call because it is so close. I just because we know what Scott Parker can do, I don't really see. Even if he doesn't want you guys to win, I don't think he wants anything worse than winning. So I could easily see it being a 0-0 draw, and just make it even tougher to predict. But I'll go with Burnley, but it could literally go either way. Just because Burnley have probably been the most impressive side I've seen at Ashton Gate this season.
Oh, really? Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. We did play well down there, to be fair. I think with me, what it is...
But then again, I think you're only like...
Go on.
Sorry, mate.
No, go on.
I was just going to say, I think you're the only one of 2 or 3 sides to actually win down here. So, you know, you did play really well. But then again, the other team was Swansea, so... Don't know how much I really
we probably drew 0-0 the week before and then 0-0 again the week after, kind of sort of destroying all the good work that we did. I think with me, I know I recently put a video out of me saying we will get top 2, but just to put that into context, that was recorded about 3.5 weeks ago, and I was looking at that Sheffield Wednesday game, the Sheffield United game, as that's when they'll drop points. They won it. I also wrote that before the QPR game, and they'll drop points there. They won that as well. So as time ticks on and they keep picking up these wins, I'm obviously getting less and less confident. I'm not as confident of what I was when I said that. But I don't know. I genuinely think it's 50-50 now. It genuinely is. But we've got the toughest next 2 games, I think. You guys, then Coventry away. And if we can come out of that run of fixtures with, 6 points and hopefully above one of them, then I think we do it. But the next 2 are
I think it'll be a struggle at Coventry. Coventry away will be a struggle for anyone, I think, especially at this point in the season. So I mean, even if we manage to nick a 0-0 on Saturday and then Coventry gets some in, then it could literally be over in 2 games. It's just
it really could.
The championship.
It really could.
But then again,
at the same time, Leeds could lose twice. So exactly,
that's what's going to happen, isn't it? It's going to be Burnley and Sheffield United who go up actually.
Yeah, Leeds bottle it again.
That's what's going to happen. Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Joy Division on full blast in the house.
Yeah.
I'll be very surprised if Leeds bottle it from here. I know people like to laugh at them and stuff, but when you look at all the key metrics, they should win the league and win it comfortably.
Yeah, they should. They should.
It just doesn't work like that sometimes, does it? Anyway, let's move on, mate. We'll start wrapping it up. Predictions for Saturday, then, please, mate. Score predictions.
I'll go for a 1-1, but I want to say 0-0, but then I also don't want to say I'm going to travel up all the way for a 0-0. So I'll go for a 1-1. But like I said, it really does depend on whatever team turns up. I'd be, as much as Bad said, I'd be surprised if we come away with a win. I'd take a draw, like I said. Obviously, a loss isn't ideal, but worst case scenario, I'm touch wood, expecting, hoping, thinking some of the other teams will drop points as well. So it wouldn't be the end of the world. But knowing City, it'll be we'll lose and all the other results go our way. So whatever happens, I'm not expecting it to be the end of the world. And then we'll have 7 games, 7 finals to go. But yeah, I'll go for a 1-1 and just have some hope.
Fair enough. I'm going 1-0 Burnley. I think it's going to be tight. I think it's
surprised.
going to be edgy. I think both teams are going to be nervous. But I just think ultimately, when you look at the quality on the pitch, as well as you've done this season and some of the players you've got, we should just have enough to be able to turn it over. The likes of Josh Brownhill, like I've said, Marcus Edwards, Jadon Anthony. I think Josh Cullen in the middle. We should have enough to hopefully win the battle.
It'll come down to if
it's going to be tough.
It'll come down to if we are able to create anything in the final third, because I'm expecting us to have a lot of the ball and to have a lot of possession, and to be getting it out wide, getting into players who can do something with it, and it's just going to be if they feel like doing anything with it. And hopefully the last 2 weeks off, they've been practicing stuff in the final third, because something we've lacked a little bit in recent weeks. But then again, the first half against Norwich, second half against Sheffield United, we looked a lot better at it. So if we can just do that for 90 minutes or even 75 minutes, then yeah, we could cause you something. And obviously, like you said, Sheffield United have managed to drag out wins against some really decent teams, decided to go there on a Tuesday and pick up something. Why can't we do it at Turf Moor?
Yeah, fair enough. Before we do wrap it up though, mate, do you want to let everybody know where they can find you and your content? Yeah,
so it's just on YouTube, Robin's on Tour. I follow Bristol City up and down the country, doing sort of match day stuff, match day vlogs, a couple of interviews in there as well. There was the pitch side video from when you guys won the league, whenever it was, 2 years ago, when you came to Ashton Gate for that promotion party. That was unreal. But yeah, I'm sure there'll be a video from Saturday, so yeah, make sure to check it out.
Yeah, I do remember watching that video. I'm one of them. I like match day vlogs, and obviously we've got a few lads that do it. I know Vizzy used to do it quite well. I think Jacob's done it a few times, and now Brad does it as well. And I do like them. I'm just one of them. Like, I can't be bothered when I'm at the match. I just want to watch the match. But I do like watching other people's stuff.
I need to do. It's weird because I don't actually like. I film very little in the match, but then it's sort of you need to do it. So it's like a couple of the chants, and then it's most of the time when the game's on, it's just sort of hoping that we don't concede. But the thing is, like with City, we have a lot of the ball, so it is a lot of the time you can expect stuff coming, and so we it's much better in the last couple of weeks. And yeah, but yeah, it's not sort of talking to the camera for 90 minutes. So
yeah, like I said, I do remember that one when Burnley went down to Ashton Gate a couple of years ago. I do remember that one. I like watching a few of them. There's that Portsmouth fan, the 4-0 written all over it guy. I do like some of his and stuff. So put it this way: if Burnley win on Saturday, I will definitely be on your channel, mate, and I'd recommend everybody to be having a look at the vlog.
That is the worst thing. That is the worst.
Yeah. But we'll leave it there, mate. Thanks for coming on the show. Show you some love. Hope everyone showed you some love in the comments, especially when you've been ill this week, and we've had to push it back a little bit. So I do apologise for being out on Thursday.
It don't feel like a Thursday at all.
It doesn't, does it? To be fair, but Ben's been unwell, to be fair, so that's why. But good luck for the rest of the season, mate. Obviously, apart from Saturday, and I hope you do get in the playoffs, because if you do, that'll be a great story. Bristol City in the playoffs.
Me too. Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, we'd have one of you, Leeds, or Sheffield United. I guess,
if you finish sixth, but I think you can be looking at that fifth spot as well now. Maybe you never know. I know everyone's saying Coventry will get it, but
I thought I didn't see Coventry losing, to be fair, for the rest of the season, and then they went and lost to Derby, and it's like, all right, anyone can really beat anyone this
they're
season.
inconsistent,
So it's like,
But yeah, we'll see anyway, mate. But good luck
we cheer
anyway.
for them
I hope you
losing
do
tomorrow.
it. I hope you do it. And if we do it, I guess I'll be speaking. If you do it and we mess up, I'll be speaking to you again in about 8 weeks or so.
Or in the Premier League next season.
Mate,
One of
I
the
would
other.
love that. If we finish second and you come in the playoffs, that's the best case scenario. But cheers, mate. Thanks a
100%.
lot, and I'll speak
Top
to you
man.
soon.
Thank you very much.